Hello, everyone. Once again, we are here. We'll do it. We'll do it live. We haven't done that one in a little while. That's
No.
our catchphrase. And then we're going to start bringing the catchphrase
Somebody
back
played
again.
him that clip and asked him to opine on it. And I don't know, he's kind of like made a joke about it, so he seems like he's calmed down.
For those of you that want to laugh, go Google Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. It's a pretty funny, pretty fun little
It's
clip.
pretty funny.
But that being said, we're back again with the Old Man Grappling Hour, one more installment. It was going to be just me and Sonny this week, but we had a surprise guest. His availability opened up. He's such a very busy man, so we jumped on the occasion to have him in. Super excited because, again, this is one of the many people in my team that keeps my old crumbled ass from falling apart on a weekly basis, monthly basis. We have Mr. Nelson Cacciatore,
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
the owner and head operator at Epic Services. So, Nelson, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Kevin. Always glad to spend time with you. And any occasion that you're not going to attack me, I appreciate you. Solid guy, man.
Very well queefed and kept with the mustache.
I got a solid handlebar.
So, real quick, give us the lowdown. Tell us a little bit who you are, what you do, what you offer as your business. Give us your mission statement. That's how we start off. Let's run with it.
Yeah. So I do bodywork and massage. It's a specialized avenue of medical sequences that I unravel the body with. But my company is so much more. Epic Services. We offer halo salt therapy. We offer mental health coaching. Our mission statement is to educate clients and to free them from their restrictions and pain and holding patterns. I had a life of trauma, and I didn't realize that there were options other than pills or surgeries. And through movement and breath and healing and release, the body's capable of doing so much, and we want people to understand that. So we found ways to help get that through and across to our clients, and we help guide them through a learning process.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge believer. I've been going with Nelson for probably 2 years now. About that
2.5 years around.
I mean, once a month, and I just bumped up to twice a month, and I'm very excited to see the goal and the gains that we make bumping up my sessions. Tell me a little bit about specifically the difference between your training and any other massage therapist you would go to, because I know you've done some specific training.
Yeah, so the focus of Epic is to help people move freely, breathe freely, and live freely. So following with that is my philosophy of how I approach the body. Getting clients to understand where they can move, how to live in that space, and then what to do with that space when they're in there. So to figure out how the body worked, I had to figure out how mine broke. So I've used myself as a case study. I've spent 5,000 hours of my life on the therapy table. I've gone through a lot of trauma healing and release.
We'll get to that later. Nelson's got some stories.
Yeah. I've been through a litany of injuries of variety and sorts. So it's gotten to the point that Epic, our staffing services, we were able to even work with the Warrior Games. Got that contract for a couple of years. So we've worked with the military Paralympics, and a lot of those guys and I have had similar injuries of blunt force trauma and impact, and softer versions of kind of what you guys do on a daily basis, just compiled into one hard impact.
Right.
You've been through that trauma. But so for me, I started studying human dissections until I could memorize them. I went through sports massage. I went through energy work training. I went through structural training, and I apply those concepts collectively as a whole towards the client. Because if you don't reach that mind, body, soul, spirit, it just doesn't make an impacting change. Just like you as a coach, you can teach somebody a routine, a certain movement, a rhythm, a kata, something, even a meditation. But if they don't apply it into everything they do, it's just a piece. It's just a piece. You got to get to the whole entity.
Man, the more and more I start to get into my own self-help and my own ability to conquer demons and to continue a fruitful life, the more I start to realize the holistic avenue of health. Like people that just focus on the idea of, yeah, I'm going to go get a massage, or I'm going to lift, or I'm going to do TRT, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. Like you're getting some of it, but you're missing the big picture. And in my opinion, I think the big thing that a lot of men lose track of is the spirituality, the synergy, the inside, the actual spiritual nature of figuring out what the hell is going on with them, because that manifests itself into freaking all kind of fun shit.
Yeah, you can only grow so far as a coach. You can only grow so far as an athlete. You can only grow so far in business. Even in my marriage, my wife and I have been through like 70 hours of marriage counseling. We've got 4 kids. We're almost on 15 years of marriage. That doesn't happen easily. We've survived a business through pandemic. Congratulations to yourself also. You just, hey, everybody else out there, if you made it through, it's been a lot.
It was a tough run.
Yeah. But it's that perseverance and that growth, and how do you overcome? I've had therapists at Whole Foods for 18 years, and all of a sudden, a pandemic, all of our events stopped, all of our staffing stopped, and we had to refigure out what we were as a business, who we were as people. So there was even further deep growth, even after being a business owner, even after being an entrepreneur, even after being a successful therapist. Like I've won awards, I've done things like that in my industry, and I'm grateful and appreciative of that. But to me, it's the client interaction. It's the miracles that happen every session that we have. I mean, we've had multiple life growth moments where you leave completely transformed, and I even have to ask him if he's okay to leave the building. Like, are you there? Because you walk in and out a different person when you go through growth. You've had that with some of your students. You've had that with some of your athletes, where after 3 months of specific growth, they overcome a certain achievement. Now they see the world from a whole new perspective. I applied that with massage. So for me, I've had 2 skull fractures. I had impact with a bulldozer at 45 miles an hour with no helmet on, shattered my face against a bulldozer's back corner scoop, and you can still see the scars on my eyes. My whole face got rearranged. My teeth got damaged. My neck got ripped off to the back left of my head. 2 years prior, I went off the hood of a car at 60 miles an hour, shattered the back left side of my head. So both were injuries I shouldn't have survived. Yet I've made a 20-year career around a massage therapy table. I'm standing here talking to you with education and such behind me.
And you work. I swear, I don't think I've ever seen another person in my life work as much as Nelson does. Getting the point with him is like getting a viewing with the Pope. I swear. And it's hard work being a massage therapist. It's not easy to go.
No, I squeeze human flesh for 35, 45 hours a week. Literally just squeeze people. I crush them into the earth.
So I know a little bit about what a session is with you, but so just quickly, so from what I'm gathering and the way I kind of hear you present it, you've studied a great deal of different approaches to massage therapy and holistic living and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So would you be willing to say that you've kind of created your own version of a massage therapy? Or is there something particular that you follow?
The main 3 avenues I go with are sports massage, Qi, Shiatsu, and Qigong. That's where I'm moving energy and breath within my body and moving energy and breath within yours, and teaching you how to find yourself at certain depths and breathe into avenues of your body that you've not found. If you've blocked off an emotional memory, if you've blocked off a physical memory, your body will route cells around it. And it just becomes this kind of like negative mass cluster that you're not paying attention to. So you can send an electrical ping in there, nothing comes out. So you feel safe to store it there. Well, it'll only store for so long, and this becomes injury, this becomes rot, this becomes a reoccurring injury that you might have, a constant ankle or wrist thing of something you're not letting go of, right? Well, when I work through that tissue and you breathe through it, those cells change. Your memories change, your experience change. You have to go through a new process with it. So for me, that breath work is very important. That's what allows my structural and sports work to hold. But the structural work is structural energetic therapy. That's where I do the cranial work. So I uncoil the sphenobasalar.
That's the crazy stuff. If you have an hour and a half session with Nelson, just for reference, like the first 10 minutes of it, he's literally just massaging the back of your head and the little cranial cracks.
Yeah, I rearrange cranial bones that uncoil the dura mater of your spine. So I literally untwist the innermost connective tissue in your body.
That's the craziest shit.
Yeah.
I lose it every time.
So if you think about a fighter's always in a fighter stance. So you're giving a slimmer profile. You're leaning forward one side. It doesn't matter which side you dominate. You're narrowing their chances of being able to grab you. So you get into these patterns. My job is to make sure you can go to the full length back the other way. As long as you have a muscle that is long, it has the ability to squeeze short. But if your muscle just squeezes short, it can't do anything else. So you're firing incorrect sequences of muscles to overcome, and you're like, I don't feel like I'm at my full potential. So when you get that spine uncoiled and you start working the support tissue around it, you build cables and pulleys that readdress the new center. So, Sonny, have you ever had a deep tissue massage? Have you ever had a sports massage?
Only happy ending massages.
Yeah, at least you left good. At least you left. I mean, it's a solid.
I've known Nelson long enough to know that if
Yeah.
you don't have money on the table, maybe at least one up the backside.
It's not gonna feel good while you're on the table, but you will leave happy at the end.
The prostate release isn't out of the question.
Life has to happen, you know. Life has
We've
to
come
happen,
close
you know?
on a few occasions,
Yeah.
actually.
I've absolutely headbutted a client, and people are like, "Are you what?" I'm like, "I've been to Tallahassee and lobbied and spoken to legislators. Like, I've been a board member for the Massage Association, but I've had a client one time rise up while I'm in the middle of holding them. I'm like, if you move again, you're going to put me on a nerve ending. I'm not willing to cause you nerve pain in your hand when you're here for that. Breathe, or I'm going to let go and we'll just end the session." Now they're like, no, go through it. And I'm like, okay. So we agree that if you move, I'm going to use my head and I'm going to hold you in place. And they're like, okay, I can do this. And this is a man-to-man conversation. They moved. I mean, I have a knot on my head. I've headbutted many people in life. It's not different for me any other time.
It's funny too. I don't know if it's because
I'm a scrawny, scrappy guy. I had to work with what I got.
you work as long as you do, because you do. Like he will. I've seen you on days when you have seen 10 to 12 patients in a row on no sleep 5 to 6 days a week, and you just continue. You're a machine.
Prayer and coffee.
So I don't know if it's
Mental
that
health matters.
you're at a mental fatigue, or you have just gotten to the point where you just don't give a shit anymore. But I made the joke. There aren't many people in the world that will talk to me the way Nelson does talks to me when I'm on a massage therapy table, to tell me to sit the fuck down, relax, I'm in control, release, let go. Like, is that something that you've built up over the years of getting to people that are not? Is it a trick that you use to get them to relax, to calm down?
I was scared to heal.
Yeah. A lot of people are.
I didn't know what healing felt like. I've been stabbed, I've been shot, I've been beaten, I've been jumped, I've been bashed, I've been robbed, I've been betrayed, I've been set up, I've been embezzled on. Life's been real. So I used to sleep over a live hand grenade for years in a dead bolted room with my dog and I, knowing if a human being woke me up, I was going to blow the room. And now I help people get through the day and make their lives better and tell them, God bless, have a good day. And I married a preacher's daughter. It's kind of a different world. You know?
I love that Sonny doesn't even have to talk this episode. Sonny's just enjoying the show.
The day I got married, I made the public announcement. Right before I married my wife and kids, I had my Nana take it to the police station. I said, nobody's going to mess with an old Sicilian woman bringing a grenade to a police station. But yeah, so no, I had my Nana take the grenade to the police station because I had to learn to go home and not destroy my household, which was weird because I was always on a
So
trigger
are
hair.
you telling me you had an actual grenade
Yeah.
in your house?
Yes.
And you were going to blow up the room?
If somebody woke me up, a human being.
Okay.
Yeah,
Carry on.
I allegedly used to do things. I have never been convicted of a crime to this day. Thank you, Jesus. So
Party on golf.
yeah. So, but the eventfulness of it led to where I got a spinal injury when somebody tried to kill my roommate, and I got a dumbbell shoved in my head 3 times. And as I was trying to stop the guy from shooting my roommate in the face and choking him out, I went out the 2-story window and got shot in the back. So I spent a month on my back recovering, trying to think, all right, well, God hasn't let me die from the head injuries. God hasn't let me die from being, attempted murder on me. God hasn't let me die from being stabbed before. I've been jumped before. It's been a lot. I've been inside of 11 car accidents on the outside of 7. I've had 8 concussions. It's been a really weird life. So for me, trying to heal from all that was absolutely terrorizing. I didn't know that healing was an option. All I was ever told was, your neck hurt, your back hurts, go see a chiropractor.
I got this toe fungus.
Yeah. Whiskey can do all kinds of things, But so I got into alternative health because when I realized I wanted to do something good with my life and I didn't want to hurt people and I wanted to give some sense of purpose to my life. I was like, I've been massaging people, my friends and family and stuff like that my whole life. I was like, why don't I do something good with my life, was the challenge of one of my bosses. And he goes, go to massage school. And I go, I'm going to do that. So I ended up going to massage school, and my instructor was heavily professional, had been in the industry like 17 years, I think, before she started the massage program. And most massage instructors have been a therapist like 3 or 6 years. I'm not against them, but I got a seasoned veteran to start me. And then she guided me through all the elite educators. So I was just kind of hand-pathed up through heavy educators. And instead of 24 hours a year education for the renewals every 2 years, I would have 130, 200 something. I just overstudied. So in my first 4 years, I got about a 20 years worth of education. And in my first 10 years of practice, I think I did 15 to 20 years worth of labor. I'm at 38,000 hours of sessions now. So I don't get new days too often, but I like unique challenges. So
Yeah, you seem to me like an incredibly. I mean, anyone that could put the workload up that you did seems to me like you're an incredibly driven person. You know, and I know you well enough to know some of your backstories. You oversell the trauma and undersell the graciousness of yourself. I know that you married your wife with 3 previous kids,
Two,
right?
two,
Two
two.
previous
Yeah,
kids
two, and
that
then
you
we got
took
two
on.
together,
You
yeah.
had 2 more that you took on and raised for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that you're an amazing father, a church-going man, because you tell me all these stories in massage, and like I really see. Would you attribute? You know, this is something that like I kind of hold dear to my heart because I had trouble past myself. I'm sure Sonny did too, and we all have shit that we have in our fucking closets, right? And like there's something about dedicating your life to a life of service, or at least in the pretext to find something that gives a reason to give back,
A hope and intention.
that makes your life all of a sudden start to feel better again.
Yeah.
Would you feel like some of that drove you to become the person you were? Some of the bad,
Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely.
I excelled in math and analyzing numbers. I was like top 3% at research statistics at USF, and I worked in a research lab. I was invited to go work with some of the doctors, and I realized I didn't enjoy the conversations with scientists all the time because they were so medically advanced they forgot that they were real human beings too.
Right.
And that's what I love about our conversations is. Yes, there's a earthness and a hardness to it, but there's still a human quality to it. And people lose themselves along the way with that. Like I've had Navy SEALs need every stuffed animal in my entire office on the massage table at one time. I've had a 6-year-old kid take a bat and beat the crap out of a punching bag for 40 minutes. You've had the same thing too, probably with some of your students and stuff releasing in the mats. You know, so what does healing look like? What does moving forward look like? It's different for everybody because it depends on where did you store it in your body. And that's what I specialize in. I specialize in movement release. You specialize in guarding and defending, right? And attacking and controlling space. I have to reclaim that space. You know, he comes into the room 100% Kevin. He leaves 100% Kevin. But I've got to re-navigate. How do I give him back what he's locked up? I'm the guy that has to figure out how to break down locks, anchors, get the rust off, hydraulic pump it, and then support the tissue so that you can move in your new space. Because if your shoulder's lurched in front of you and it's guarding your ribs and you're telling me you got breathing problems and heart problems and you have a hard time trusting people and you're not communicating well, and I get your shoulder to go back, I get your shoulder to go back. But I've also opened up your lung. I've also released your throat chakra. I'm also taking pressure off your third eye so you can see yourself better. So there's a Western and an Easternness to this, you know, but I don't get the credit for that. That's between you and God. I'm just a tool. I tell people I'm a mechanomaid.
Yeah.
I get to tell you to shut the fuck up, breathe, and let go.
And you totally do.
I say this to preachers. I say this to preachers' wives. I'm sorry. I curse in my prayers too sometimes, you know. I used to have a blue mohawk and say the F words like 3 times
Sonny,
in
you're
every
quiet
sentence,
over
you
there.
know.
You just enjoying the show?
Sure. Yeah. Well,
We were talking a little off camera.
No, speak your mind, Sonny. I know the inner skeptic.
I'm extremely skeptical.
Of course.
I'm 51 years old. I don't get massages. I don't take ice baths. I don't stretch. I don't do any of this shit. And I can hang with any 20, 30-year-old kid on the mat.
Yeah.
I don't have problems walking, breathing. I do believe in God. But I don't feel like I need anything else. Like I'm always, since I've been training for 16 years and I've seen new gimmicks come up all the time.
Yeah.
No, let's take an ice bath, you know, and everybody's doing ice baths. And some of my students bought one for their apartment. Like, come on over, you got to try it. It's life-changing. I'm like, no, I really don't think it is. And I don't get it, man. I don't get any of it. I just do what I do.
So this leads to a very, because I mean, you know, we're talking to a very big mix of people.
Oh, yeah,
out there.
yeah.
Not everyone's going to be the enlightened fucking.
Some people just want to persevere.
Yeah.
Some people literally just want to run through the pain. They literally just go.
What do you say to a skeptic?
If you're not in pain, then you're fine. If you don't identify that you have restrictions, you're fine. I'm not if you don't want to let go of something, if you don't want to change, you can't make that change happen. You can't tell them, and this is not a negative connotation in any way, just something people can relate to. You can't tell an alcoholic they're an alcoholic. You know, like if he feels healthy and good, he feels healthy and good. That's awesome. Don't we all aspire to be that way? my friends and I used to drop kick each other down stairwells. We didn't film it like Jackass did to make money. Like you didn't want to be the sled.
Only because that was before we had camera phones.
Yeah. I mean, we were skateboarders and mountain bike
Cameras
riders,
were expensive back then.
I still have a malformed ankle because one time security came at us. We were skateboarding on a construction rooftop of a corporate building, and they came at us. We just flicked them and said, "Fuck you," and jumped off. Well, my ankle kind of blew and skateboarded 4 miles home. Told my mom I rolled it and I limped for like 3 months on crutches. Like now it doesn't look the same. My bad. But I used to talk about it as my bad ankle. I used to say, "Oh, that's my ankle. I fucked up." Like, "Oh, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts." Then I got into therapy and it got better, but it would still hurt me sometimes. The thing that changed was positive linguistics. When I started saying, "This is my ankle that's getting better. This is my ankle that I used to have bad memories with. This ankle now no longer hurts me. I haven't had a problem with it in a decade since." I had to change my mind. The space was there waiting for me. So for me, I've had trauma in my life. I've had things go wrong.
Well, I've had trauma.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Well, how the hell? Teach me something then. What do you know? Sonny, share. Give me some Sonny and share.
Lots of marijuana.
I was definitely abused as a child,
Yeah.
For sure. And I've gone through some shit as an adult that would just bore people. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just think, finding God again was something that helped me a lot. I was spent probably 20 years, maybe more, as an atheist.
Yeah.
And I was angry all that time, really fucking angry. And that all started to change when I started getting back into religion, Christianity.
Yeah.
I don't find myself to be as angry. I'm still angry.
Sonny's my little angry buddy, Sonny.
Just not as angry.
Oh, I still talk to therapists. Yeah. I'm like, you don't have dreams where you wake up with knives in your hands tickling people? And they're like, no. So, I'm like, oh, my bad. I guess
What about you,
it's an
Dustin?
Italian thing.
Were when did you get reconnected to God? Was it before or after you started doing your massages?
I got saved at a young age and then ran from God. I had a girlfriend I talked to y'all about before. Mental health matters a lot. There was a girlfriend that had an abortion against my wishes. I didn't know she switched birth control, and I couldn't protect my child. I was, as a man, not able to do anything about her and her body and the child that was in her. So I handled it wrong. I ran from God. I turned to drugs and literally just sank my life for 3 years. I was like, whatever I'm going to do it before I kill myself. And in the process, I realized life is quite worthy. I tried to disprove God, and in that process, I realized God was quite real. So it was in this horrible time that my life started to root and go in a new direction. I was like, oh, I know, I'll save the family by selling marijuana to everybody I know. So I allegedly did that quite well. And so there's it's a long story. We'll need many interviews for that one. But that's where the gunshot and somebody trying to kill my room, and I came into play. Drugs are bad.
Selling marijuana.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know anything about
Work
that.
hard.
I wouldn't know anything about
That's part of why I have no problem working hard. I partied hard for a long time.
Scoot back just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking to Mike.
I work.
Jeff
I
Rod's
worked
gonna kick
really
my
hard
ass.
because I think I partied so well for so long, and in that process, I found peace with God. And what I realized on the therapy table is that I hated myself, and God was there waiting the whole time. So when I started forgiving myself, when I started loving myself, when I started to try to process being a human being again and have feelings, when you join the military, you agree to sign off your life away just because somebody says go kill the person on the other end of a gun. Like, okay, so I never did active duty. Thank you, Jesus. I'm thankful for our servicemen and women. I appreciate what you guys do. I was just National Guard. But it's a mental mindset of what you agree to do. So to go from that to have the lifestyle that I had after the mental health issue of not being able to protect my child and not seeking help or therapy, because nobody told me guys were supposed to talk about things, Then after all the wild life I had the opportunity to marry a woman with children whom I loved. My wife and I were high school off and on. I was kind of Italian and always forgot to break up with my girlfriend, so I was that asshole. So we've talked about that, So there's been a lot of humbling in my life. But moving forward has been a good thing. Having a wife and children, having a career where I get to change people's lives every day helps. I didn't want to do the research and math stuff because it bored me so much. So for me, I wanted to see something where I got quick results. I didn't want to be an engineer and build a building for 8 years. What if after 5 years I got bored and killed myself? Like, I just didn't want to risk that. I knew my mental health was fragile, and I needed something that gave me quick results, that gave me continued results and long-term results. And I realized I could do that with massage. So for you, Sonny, I would say if you want to move better, it's not about hurting. if you want to be faster, if you want to feel that you have full use of your joints again, that's when you would see me. If you want to have your life change and you're in pain, you want to let go, that's when you would come see me. We have a halotherapy salt room. It just cleans your breathing pathways by giving you a microscopic salt particles to breathe in. It also goes under your skin. So
Salt therapy is good. The Himalayan salt therapy.
It helps your immune system. We did this because my son had eczema, and we became VIP members somewhere and realized that this helps. During the pandemic, they didn't survive, and by the grace of God, we did. So, our business has expanded, like I said, into mental health coaching. We have sound bowl experiences in our salt room. We do yoga, but it's the body is able to heal itself, and that's what God, the God that I believe in, designed. He designed a beautiful structure to heal itself. We just need help getting there.
Let's parlay a little bit there. That's a beautiful story. It really was. I mean, honestly, like I can tell you firsthand that the things that you say about yourself and the background of your story shows in your true care with your customers. It's the reason why you're the toughest freaking massage therapist in Tampa to get into, because you truly care, not just about making a buck, not just about putting someone on your table and placating them. You truly care about finding out what makes them tick and what needs to be done to help them lead better lives. But one of the things you did speak a lot about was the structural part of massage therapy. And this is something that this is something that I'm constantly, I have a couple different people that we're all on the same kind of board. And the idea of realigning your body to work at its most optimal. And I'm a bit naive and a bit of a novice on this, but over the course of our lifetime, different injuries occur, and the human body is an intriguing.
It'll find a way to overcome.
It'll find a way to overcompensate, which means now you're locked up on one side and you open up another side. And one of the things I noticed from you,
deviations,
is there's a whole process of working from one limb to the next to where we're working for that totality of getting the body realigned. Tell me a little bit about what that work entails.
Well, that's the cranial structure work. I've got to uncoil the dura mater. That's the tissue that it holds the brain inside the cranium and the spinal nerves and the spinal cord. So your first session with me is a 2-hour session, and you will leave 1/4 of an inch to an inch taller. Your organs won't be in the same place. Your eye sockets won't be in the same place. We take photos of you before and after.
This is true, by the way. I've done this before. He'll put you
You
on
can
a
find me on
grid.
social media, Instagram at Catchtis, Catchtis.
Take a picture of you against a grid on the wall, like a line graph grid on the wall. Take a picture of your front, from the back, from the side. He'll go through an hour session, and you will look at yourself, and based upon that grid, you will see where the deviations in your eyes are leveled out, the deviations in your hips, where they are skewed, will level out. Yeah. It's absolutely phenomenal.
If I see you for 1.5 to 2 seconds, I can instantly know where we're going to spend the next 2 hours. And it's great for me to know, but I need you to know. I need you to understand what happened, what changed, and how you're going to take ownership of that space, because it's not mine. I don't want it. You leave with it. You take that crap home. I'm going home to my wife and kids and petting my dogs. I don't want your drama. So when I move that space, I need you to see that your hips are now an inch back, 1/4 rotated, that your shoulders and ribs have unraveled, because you don't realize that your ribs are counter rotated into each other, that one eye socket is dropped lower than the other. That's why people have optimal angles that they like, and everybody on social media, I have my good face, my bad face. I feel gassy on this side and I feel blocked up on this side. It's a rotation in the body, but you see it in 16-week-old fetuses in the womb that the hips are rotated. It's how you pass through a 10-centimeter birthing canal. Have you ever seen prisoners trying to escape, animals trying to get through a gate, a baby trying to get through a crib? They twist and they move, just like you guys having to navigate a small opening on somebody. You've got to make that space happen. You maneuver into it. Well, when we get out and we move and we live into our body, we do what you were saying, habits, hobbies. If you still keep rolling the exact same way and you roll your favorite direction and you don't practice counter rolling the other way, you're going to twist your body up faster. So golfers, tennis players, things like that, where it's a unilateral sport, that's horrible movement. At least you guys as athletes, you're practicing different directions, but you got to breathe and you got to reclaim the space. So if you're pulling your body in tight, my job is to uncoil you. So I have to account that if this shoulder goes back, your ribs have opened, your head has gone back. I have to make sure that your jaw is balanced. I have to make sure the other side of your shoulder can stabilize with that same shoulder. I have to make sure that as I pitch you back, that your hips and SI joints have tipped and countered. So I have to do all this cranially to make sure that the ball bearings above you are in their optimal place. And then I have to have enough appropriate time. So that's why we agree upon, do I have 60 minutes, 90 minutes, or 2 hours? Some people that have been with me for a long time can endure and do significantly longer time frames. But I then uncoil and support the structure to meet the new center. And then you leave rearranged.
And you also, like, one of the things I noticed
Your emotions
about
are
you,
different. Your nerves are different.
one of the things I noticed about you is and again, I'm gonna use holistic again because that's the word of the day apparently. But the
All natural.
all natural. Well, I'm more in the totality. So in other words, I'm thinking of it more as in the whole body changeover. Like, and you don't think, a lot of massage therapists you come to them with an issue. I have a bad knee. I have a bad hip. I have a bad shoulder. What would they do? No, they would focus on some of the other muscles that are coordinated, like if your back is strong or it's bad, they know that maybe it's because the pectoral is over freaking compensating, so they have.
But I might rub your toe instead.
But you might rub my toe.
Yeah.
Or like for an hour and a freaking half. Yeah. And
where's the energy locked up?
There's an idea.
You know what's hurting, and I have to figure out where it came from.
There's an idea of a whole body experience, and not just piece by piece by piece, but the idea of we are doing this on the long term to continue to realign your body directly or completely.
I have people that'll fly in just for one session. I have people that drive across the state 3 hours and 5 hours for 2 hours on the table to drive back in the same day. And the time on the table has to make sense. Would you drive 3 to 5 hours for a massage? No. But people do that for body.
He wouldn't drive around the corner. Let's see what the happy ending. Little pinky in the stink hole, maybe. But we don't.
Well, it's not here.
Hey, my Italian Santino.
So body work is a whole different thing. Body work is at the far other bell end curve of the spectrum and at the far end of specialized work. So we refer to it as life altering in a good way, because if you've not had your organs in the appropriate place, their visceral function changes. And what I mean by that, for people that don't understand medical stuff, is that your liver is supposed to have a certain wobble, your spleen is supposed to have a certain weeble, your kidneys are supposed to pump when you're walking and your guts are moving. So if you're in a fighter stance and your body's locked up, and then you have a desk job or you drive for a living and you stay sitting, when do you get your ribs back away from your knees? Well, I'm the jaws of life. I go in there and I will literally pull your head out of your ass by working from behind your guts, and I pull your spine out of your kneecaps. So it's some weird stuff. But then you thank me at the end, right? You've never punched me for what I've done to you?
I thought about it a few times. I've wanted to a few times on many occasions.
Yeah.
But aside from just the systematic benefits, the overall athletic performance is going to increase and increase your longevity, right? Because your body's now more aligned. And from all things that I have learned, and just from stretching, and I love. Wait, we have my stretch guy on. Sonny doesn't know that yet, but I'm gonna sneak him in. I'm gonna tell him it's somebody else, and I'm gonna sneak Charlie on one day. But that's another story. You got to meet Charlie one day. You guys are a piece in the pod.
I got multiple of your bodies on my table. It's pretty good. You do well, and I appreciate it.
You guys are a piece in the pod.
Tell the people on the video here.
Everybody's welcome.
No. Let me finish.
Sure, sorry.
Tell the people in the video why Matt has an egg timer at his belt promotions.
That's because so we know that Charlie only gets 5 minutes for his introduction, for his annual speech.
And when did that start?
After Charlie's annual speech, after the black belt ceremony that went awry.
How much jujitsu does Charlie know?
No, it's not important. Charlie is a lifelong martial artist. 40 years of Taekwondo. It's still an impressive
counts
feat.
For something.
And his understanding of the human anatomy and the functionality of movements of the human body is at a genius level. He is obviously on the spectrum. We love Charlie. It's the truth. Charlie would agree. But his genius is understanding how the body
It takes a village
moves.
to keep Kevin together.
It definitely keeps a village to keep him together. But so for the folks at home that don't really understand that, your body is designed not to move in a particular. If you look at a perfect example, you've got that medical skeleton.
Yeah.
And I play around with it a little bit when you're not there. Sometimes in a weird way.
I walk around and come back and like it's not.
Drop the thing, jump up on the table, like nothing happened. Don't worry about it.
Just clean it up when you're done, Kevin. Just clean it up when you're done.
But if you noticed it's you move the arms away, you move the shoulders, you move the legs in different areas and different motions, and you start to recognize the appropriate direction in which the body is supposed to move.
Yeah.
Well,
The shoulders
that is
actually
the
belong
body,
behind
that is
your
the way
ears.
the body is designed to function. I hope he's not coming this way. Are they coming this way?
I don't know.
I don't think so. No, they're going the other way. Good enough. Crisis averted. Our $1 million studio, which
Yeah.
is definitely not a storage unit in Brandon.
On the side.
Totally not a storage unit in Brandon. It was almost interrupted. We're good. He's on the other side. Please, it's still better than the coffee shop. So anyway, as our bodies become more aligned, they become more functional, which allows us to be more efficient and be less injury prone. And
My motive in life, and I guess my favorite thing to think on is I want to be efficiently lazy. I'll work hard, and I work very hard, but why should I work any harder than I have to? So if I can use my energy and my body to its optimal performance, I can do more. And that's, Kevin, how I work so hard, is because I put my time into my body. I got therapy on my body so that I could put it as an endurance athlete to do the career ahead of me. I knew I had a large family. I knew I had to work more than somebody else. So I was the guy who would just keep drinking coffee and call somebody at 1 o'clock in the morning in California, though, and say, hey, I'm at this mile marker. If I don't talk back in a minute and a half, call the cops. Like, Nelson, why are you working so hard? I'm like, I got to build a business. So we built a business. I'm happy with the business. You built a business. It wasn't easy getting
not
there,
easy at
right?
all.
You know? But so then now, what do we do with it? I need to heal the body that I sacrificed to build a business. So my team still works on me. I still get therapy. I still take salt baths. I still stretch. I still talk to counselors. I still talk to therapists. I still take walks in the park. I still go spend time with my dogs. I play games with my kids. I see old friends. I talk to guys. We do mental health check-ins, kind of things. All this stuff matters because without it, we get lost in our own head. Apparently, your head is safe. My head got folded some, Sonny. So you know.
I don't want it to seem like I have no issues in my life. I just deal with those issues.
I just choose to ignore them.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you. Sorry.
I
love you, boo-boo.
more, again, I have faith, but I'm a more evidence-based, truth-based type of person.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I don't know. Like, if someone were to, like, all right, perfect example. Have you heard of Reiki?
Yes.
Okay.
I know how to do it.
This to me has got to be
some
the
weird
biggest
shit.
load of bullshit that has ever come across me. Reiki. It's where you massage somebody without actually touching them.
I can.
It's their energy. It's like chi. There's no fucking such thing. And people actually pay money to go to fucking school to learn how to do Reiki.
Well,
It's the dumbest shit I've
Sonny,
ever heard of in my fucking life.
used to agree
the
with
only
him
thing I will
completely.
tell you is this, and this is, I'm not trying to be contradictory because I'm not trying to contradict
You
anybody.
can, bro, you can believe what you want.
Yeah.
There is
And y'all
a
can
man,
too.
There is a man in China that has believed in Qi for his entire life that believes that your belief systems are wrong too, or made up and exaggerated.
And I'm
There's a
not
man in the
saying-
sky
Can I
that
get-
controls everything.
Wait, I want to give a very personal example. So because of my injuries, I was very science based. Like if you weren't,
I agree
if you-
with you, by the way, Sonny, but
if you
that's,
weren't,
you know.
if you weren't massaging
I'm
me
not
with your
trying to convert
knuckle,
anybody.
no. But if you weren't rubbing me with a knuckle or an elbow, get the fuck out of here. Like we're not playing games. My body's tight. Like I work hard. I would go on 20 and 40-mile runs, put 5-pound weights, and hit a punching bag for 30 minutes. So I couldn't feel my shoulders. So endurance is normal to me. So you have to be strong to work on me. So I had a class, and I thought this guy was, funny. He had a Korean accent. I liked the way he talked. He was always kind and happy to people. And I had to wake up because I had massage obligations as a board member. Everybody else was still hungover from the party before. So I'm like, I'm going to take his class and sit in the back. He says, are there any skeptics in the room? I raise my hand. He goes, anyone with low back pain? Well, I have a bullet in my spine. I raise my other hand. I'm the only person with 2 hands up. So he pulls me as the demo and puts me on the table. I don't believe in what this guy does.
What was it again that he does?
Qi Shiatsu and Qigong, like not Reiki, but along the same lines, energy work. Follow me on this. I didn't think energy work was real. I was a science, medical-based therapist, right? I was very narrow-minded in my beliefs now. So he puts me on the table, and he tells me, don't open your eyes. We're going to see what happens. And I'm like, okay, I get education for sitting in a room, lying on a table with my eyes closed. This is the greatest morning ever. I'm so glad I'm here. Thought it was a pretty efficiently lazy way to go through the day. So he puts 2 fingers on the outside of each of my legs and tells me to open my legs. Okay, so I kick his hands off and got strong legs. My legs are about twice the size of his arms. Okay, cool. So he says, keep your eyes closed. So he tells everybody to focus on the next slide, make sure I don't open my eyes. I'm like, okay. So after 30 seconds, he tells me to try to move my legs. I was paralyzed. I could barely even press against him. I couldn't even find my legs. He's like, don't open your eyes. He tells the people to focus on the next slide. Okay. I don't know what the first slide was. He tells them to focus on the next slide for 30 seconds. So he tells me to again try to open my legs. When I opened my legs, I was stronger than I was the first time. He keeps lecturing. I look over and it's like kindness, joy, peace, happiness, acceptance. And it says, focus these thoughts, and a whole bunch of nice things. Focus these thoughts on the table for 30 seconds. And I'm like, hey, excuse me, dude. I just completely interrupt his whole sermon or seminar. And I say, go back to the other slide. He goes back to the other slide. And it says, focus these thoughts on the table for 30 seconds. Hate, pain, anguish, sorrow, suffering, pity, despair. So 47 people, unbeknownst to me in the room, thinking negative thoughts, had weakened my body, unbeknownst to my control, not knowing any of it. Here's the creepy part. 47 people in the room, thinking positive thoughts and focusing that energy towards my body, strengthened me beyond my original body strength ability. I was floored. I had no idea how that had happened. I changed my life after that experience. Probably cut like 30% of my friends out of my life because I realized how negative they were and they didn't have my best interests at heart. Life-changing moment. But here's where it got weird. I lay down.
Here's where it got weird.
Here's where it got weird for me.
Everything else is cool.
Okay, that's a power and strength thing, right? So because of the bullet in my back, I had a limp when I walked. So he puts his hand underneath my back without any pressure. My back is hovering. My low back's hovering. I had, a bubble butt, My low back's hovering over the table. So he puts his hand over my stomach and he starts waving his hand, and then he switches directions and turns it the other way. Without me doing anything or believing a damn thing on what this guy's doing, my back starts warming up and melting and lying down in his hand. He didn't have to dig into me at all. And I can feel my stomach getting calm, like somebody's hugging me on the inside. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing to me, dude? Like, I'm trying not to cut his throat. Like, I'm like, what the fuck's happening? You're hijacking my body. And he goes, oh, your base chakra was off. He goes, it was actually twisting the other direction. I had to reverse it and turn it around and spin the energy the other way. I'm like, I could pass the exam to tell you what you did. But I don't know how you did that and how you knew to do that. I want to know what you know. So I've taken his class 3 times, his advanced class twice. I've had him train my wife just so she can work on the kids and I. I've flown him in from Europe just to train my old company. It was life-altering work, and that's what I say, change the way I approach structural work, change the way I approach sports massage. So if your tissue doesn't want to let go, I will literally just hijack you and move energy around and open up pathways, and we're going to get to results.
So quickly, we're getting close. We're getting about 10, 15 minutes left. But I'm going to ask you a few other questions just for the folks at home. Like, I know you work with a lot of fighters, a lot of. I know some
almost 20 years now.
Jared Warren, lots of fighters. So, tell me a few of the things that you notice, and not just with fighters, but with the grapplers. It's all, I think of it as an inclusive thing. Tell me some of the things that you notice about them that are glaring deficiencies in their body and their habits and their abilities to function at full levels that you kind of notice it's a theme of them.
Easiest. I can pick 3 things, and it's all trunk of the body. It's the counter rotation of the hips takes away the base. Your lead leg and your base foot. Your lead leg is holding 85% of your body mass. Your base foot is ready for spring action. But if you don't counter and reverse that, you end up wearing that down over time. So the longer you're an athlete, the harder it is. So even just at home stuff you could do is look in the mirror, whichever, and if you're female, whichever labia is touching your leg. If you're a guy, whichever testicle's touching your leg, foam roll that adductor. That's the inside of your knee up to your groin and that quad. Then work on psoas stretching. If you do that, you'll unlock what's torquing or torsioning the hips one way or the other, and at least release a lot of that low back pressure. Because who doesn't have low back pressure? We all live in modern society. We sit on our couches, we sit at the movies, we sit at work, we sit driving around, we sit watching stuff, we sit scrolling our phones, right? And then you get into a grappling position where you lock up. So you've got to release that bind. So if you let go of the front, your low back gets stronger, your hips get stronger, and more importantly, your diaphragm has somewhere to go. So that would be my second point, is most athletes, not even just grapplers, most athletes don't understand the power of the diaphragmatic arch. If your ribs are rolling in, you're taking your 2 floating ribs, your 11th and 12th rib, and rolling them towards your liver, your spleen, and your stomach. and adding pressure. Now your diaphragm is working at limited operation. If nothing else, release your abs and your diaphragm. Work on that psoas muscle. Get that distance between you. So then when you take a breath, you have all this oxygen power into the back of your lats, into the back of your triceps, into your forearms. And now you can really squeeze and throw a motherfucker down, right? But if you're on limited air supply, you're going to phase out. Like it's just not going to last. You're not going to have that endurance. And the third thing would be the overrolled shoulders. Because to narrow yourself, you're constantly having to overroll. And what am I always having to do? Claw your shoulder out of your sternum.
Butterfly guard.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was looking at myself in the mirror the other day, teaching a lesson.
Single arm door stretches are free. Single arm door stretches. You literally get your shoulder blade here. I'll use the cross. It's easier to see. Get your shoulder blade. For those that can't hear, get your shoulder blade behind your ribs and armpit hair so it's away from your nipple. Roll your humerus bone and palm out so that your palm is going forward towards your toenails, and walk it into a door frame. Then breathe and walk until somewhere between your deltoid and your nipple is on fire. That would be your pec minor. You're trying to stretch that out. If you can get your pec minor to release, you could actually engage your pec major, which is 7 to 8 times bigger. Most people, most fighters I have a collapsed collarbone under their first rib, cannot take a deep breath with their scalenes on their first and second ribs. Most fighters' scapulas or shoulder blades are collapsing their arms, and you're working with probably 30 to 40% of your arm strength. If you could literally just get a-breasted, not talking hot tits, we're talking a-breasted. Just move your shoulders out and open. You'll have more air, more function, more power.
Yeah, as I was just telling Sonny, I mean, as a grappler, like we live like this. I mean, even when I box,
I lunge for a living. Everybody thinks you do massage, your hands hurt. I'm like, no, my ass and my feet hurt.
Yeah.
I lunge for a living. I just happen to use my hands to squish you.
Right. So it's another level for you.
Yeah.
Different idea.
But I have to do the same things. I wouldn't tell you the advice if I don't take it myself. But Kevin's been 5 minutes late. He sees me. I'm stretching backwards across the massage table like a crescent moon backwards, because I have to arch away from what I do all the time. I'm always leaning forward, so I do a lot of back bends. But that's how I got function in my back again. I used the muscles that I wasn't.
Well, I mean, the next follow-up question is probably going to be about the same answer is what I was talking. You know, a lot of our viewers, it's called the Old Man Grappling Hour for a reason. It's the older dudes. Like,
Over 40, yeah.
What are some of the things that you would think that you could offer to some of our older viewers that, even if they're not grapplers, but obviously we're grapplers, some of the things they could do on their own, obviously go see you.
Yeah.
But
epicservices.co is the website,
right.
just .co.
Yeah. But what are some of the things they can do on their own to help with longevity and lead a better life?
Well, I mean, very simple tools you can get online. I get no profit from telling you this, but the So Right is a great stretch tool that I use. Yoga wheel is a stretch tool that I use. I use 2 tennis balls. Tennis balls come in a pack of 3. They're like $4 or $5. You should travel with them all the time. I shove them in my shoes so that they're always, my shoes look nice, and I have tennis balls for therapy. But a tennis ball won't damage your tissue too fast like a lacrosse ball. And it's soft enough to get into the muscle tissue, and you can roll around and stretch it yourself. So 1 tennis ball in 1 sock, like a tube sock, not a crusty sock and not a wank sock, Sonny. Okay, so 1 tennis ball.
Unless you don't have another sock.
Yeah.
And
2 tennis balls in the second sock. All right, you tie knots off on them. Your spine can go right in between the 2 tennis balls, and you can work all of your erector spinae, or your back muscles that keep your posture. You can work your rotators and your multifidi, or your deep spinalis muscles, the muscles that help you twist your spine or roll and be quick. You can use a tennis ball to get right into that little nook right behind your spine where it gets those pinches and it grabs. Tennis balls, cheap therapy. That's something anybody can do. You don't always have to go see a professional, but you do have to breathe. You do have to let go. I can help you map it out. That's what our therapists are. We specialize in educated therapists. We have staffing events and do things like that. But for at home, get a foam roller. They're $15, $20. Get them on deal, buy them in bulk. But you have to spend time on yourself. If you're a rally car, do you not maintenance itself? You know, like I hit speed bumps at 65 miles an hour while giggling. Like, I don't care. I use my car like a battering ram and stolen goat cart tires on fire. Like, it's funny to me. I paid for it. I'm going to use it how I want. That's my choice, right? But I pay my mechanic well to fix it, you know? So if you're going to use your body, if you go to the gym 2 times a week, maybe you only need a massage every month, every other month. If you're in the gym 5 days a week, you probably need to get in every week, every other week. How often are you using your body? Are you limited by pain? Did you used to have a shoulder movement that you want to move? Don't see a cheap massage therapist. Don't see a local massage therapist. Go find an educated body worker. even if you're not from Tampa and you don't want to come see them, I'm a full-blooded tampon. I got old stories. We can go for days, you
You
know.
want to know
But,
my real secret? I'm always in pain.
but then you're numb to it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
pretty much.
See, I know what freedom feels like, and I don't want to go back. I used to be on pills.
But I'm
I'm not
okay
doing
like
that
this.
life, you know. Yeah. You're happy. I listen. I like
the
Sunny,
pain. Keeps you warm at night. Remember that from Red Dawn? I like the pain.
But yeah,
Keeps you
breathing,
warm.
breathing works. But you don't. You seem comfortable. You haven't
Wolverines!
fidgeted much. The two of us are wiggling and moving because for us to sit still hurts.
So, all right. Obviously, that's amazing. So, I mean, honestly, it was a good show. I like it. It's very informative. You're a great. I knew you were gonna be a good fucking guest. We didn't have to say shit. I'm not even having a good night tonight. Which is Sonny's fucking. You know me. I'm still
and
coming out of my shit. I'm still coming out of my shit.
Let's turn this into a Kevin therapy.
I'm
session.
feeling
I'm game with that. I have a degree in psychology.
I mean, Nelson knows all about my shit. I'm feeling better. I got my MRI done
Okay.
on Tuesday. So I'm
what did
hopefully
it say?
Yesterday. Hopefully I'll
You
get.
are indeed a female.
Yes, exactly. There it is. We fucking somebody blow up the pink smoke.
So, what's it say?
Haven't got the results back yet. Probably tomorrow.
Well, I was told I had bulging disc, and the bullet on my spine's been there for 21 years.
Oh, you still
And-
have the bullet?
Yeah. They don't know how I'm not paralyzed and how it didn't hit any organs. So
They're probably
like,
afraid to take it out.
yeah, they're like, it came in at 1,000 degrees.
So
I can show it to you.
Are you one of Kevin's students, or are you just?
No. I fix people that use their bodies.
He was referred to me by one of my students.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But yeah, Nelson's amazing. Nelson's good as fucking. Let's see the picture.
I,
for the folks at home.
I had to.
We'll
figure
send
out
a
how to
picture
let
to
go.
Rod so we can blow it up on the screen for you too.
Yeah, my friends and I, we grew up in mosh pits, and if you didn't like my Mexican best friend, you didn't like my best friend, I don't care how tall of a Nazi you were, my forehead was going to hit you.
Mosh pits are awesome.
Yeah.
They're a lost art.
Listen, punk rock's real, right? You know? So I don't have an L1 transverse process.
I don't think
That's
I've
the
seen
bullet,
that
huh?
yet.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Oh, there it is.
Camera there, yeah.
Looks
There
like
it
a
is.
9
We'll
millimeter.
get a picture of that. Send us that. I'll send it over to Rod so he can
Is
blow it
that
up
a
on the
9?
screen.
I don't know.
Whatever it was freaking yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't ask him to gauge. But so yeah, if you're into Margaret Nelson, those are very informative. But the one thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because this is something we got a few more minutes.
I got no rush. We drink.
We could call this the old man Gopper in an hour and 10 to 15 minutes. I think we're still gonna hit an hour.
I think you're the only one.
You
who
got
cares.
yeah. You realize if you trim
45 minutes could be an hour.
if you trim a few 5 minutes, it'll add up. So what's weighing on you? What's
So I was just curious to talk to you a little bit about, I'm an old school Tampa guy. I grew up in Tampa and lived in Tampa my whole life. And there's not a whole lot of us anymore.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of like local. I lived there for 40 years. I've lived in this fucking city. And we've watched it kind of change and grow and become something. It was always pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
The
it was always a good mix-up. It's a good mix-up.
It's always been a cauldron of madness lurking beneath
Gary
the,
Moromino's The Immigration World of Ybor City is an amazing book.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you came up. I know you're an old Tampa family and you're an old Tampa guy. Tell us a little bit about your experience and some of the things you've seen Tampa change over the last 15, 20
so for
years.
me, I had a unique perspective because I was born in West Tampa. My father was born in the Sicilian projects of Ybor City, the I guess the white projects of Ybor City, like the west side of it.
Yeah.
When I was about 1 year old, so the baby of 4, my parents moved us from Tampa to Brandon. So I grew up in the Bloomingdale suburbs, while all my Italian family, all my Spanish-Cuban family was still living out in West Tampa. So we would always go from this like new modern suburban world to classic Tampa. But in the last 10, 15 years, Tampa has just absolutely exploded almost to an unrecognizable thing to me as an old school soul. And the thing that hurt...
In what way?
The nostalgicness of it, the local communities are now strip malls that look like everywhere else. The things that made Tampa unique.
We're losing our identity.
Yeah.
We're
And
definitely
pandemic-
Ybor City is
pandemic
probably
was-
the only.
And in Ybor City's fast on the way
And
out
I'm
the
not
door.
opposed. I'm not opposed to the rebuilding of Water Street. They've done a beautiful job with the Channelside District. I remember I was actually one of the paid laborers when I was trying to deal with some of my legal debts. I was one of the guys that helped clean out some of the warehouses that are now beautiful buildings. So I was there, boots on the ground, for some of these changes. And I take my children to it, and I try to show them some of the old pictures that I have and some of the old pictures that my family has. One of my uncles is restoring a lot of the old images. It's great. I love it. There's a Tampa history group on Facebook that shows some of the old photos too. And times have to change. You gotta
have
go,
growth.
You've got to go with the times.
But you can do that and keep the culture.
Yes, but I like more mom and pop owned businesses and not everything being a chain. And
Man,
that's
I
my
could go.
problem.
I could go on a. I mean, we're getting to a
It's true.
point
There
now.
are great places in Sarasota, Tampa, where Clearwater, where you go and these are mom and pop owned businesses, and those are the places that you just finally, or you find yourself naturally walking into.
Yeah.
And you walk right past the Applebee's. You walk past these places because it's like, fuck, man, there's one on every corner.
Well, the thing I know is Housewife Bake Shop. Housewife Bake Shop is an Italian bakery. I've been eating there since I was in my womb. The owners just recently sold it.
My mother used to work there.
Yeah. So I did too. And I just showed up one day. My dad talked to Anthony, and he said, "Tony, Nelson's going to start working there." And I literally just showed up the next day and started working there. So that's a job I had in college. But what I learned there was that they had the same baker. He came off the boat from Sicily and worked there for, I think, 56 years. And he trained the next guy, Mario. So Tony trained Mario, right? And so they had the same two bakers. The taste never changed. They bought the same ingredients. They made it the same way. The only thing that changed, and I couldn't figure out why, was the humidity in the air, because we're so close to the bay. Sometimes it would change the way the salt or the water levels would rise, the moisture in the air, because the vents were exposed to the outside. It's an old school bakery. It didn't have all the modernization of it. But they're cousins. So Sam Peroni married the daughter of the Alessi Bakery. We all know the Alessi Bakery. And listen, I still occasionally buy at the Alessi Bakery. But I didn't know the difference when I went from Brandon to the family events, that half my family lived by the Alessi Bakery and half my family lived by Housewife. I couldn't figure out why in the hell does a Cacciatore pizza, cold party pizza, to anybody that doesn't know.
Only in Tampa.
Yeah. So why it tasted different? Well, Alessi got the contracts to provide food to public, so they had to get more bakeries, they had to get more bakers, they had to teach people that didn't know the old ways, they had to get products that had longer shelf life, so get things with preservatives. So people couldn't understand, and I was telling Sonny how I used to be a little heavier, how I worked at a bakery and was losing weight because the food Housewife used didn't have as much preservatives in it, so my body could break it down. So I started learning health and nutrition in college at the same time. Then I learned massage. So I had to learn the body from the inside out.
That's a big thing. When I went to Paris, I was working with a girl, a nutritionist girl, and she said, "You're going to go to Paris, you're going to eat all this horrible food. And granted, you're walking around a lot, but you're going to come back healthier because the quality of the food, the quality of the ingredients, even the stuff you buy off the side of the street is 10 times what you get in the States because they don't let you use that shit."
I asked my son when the last time he remembers me being sick. My son's 13. He goes, "You've never been sick, Dad." And I practice healthy things.
So let me ask you this. I don't know if you've ever been to the Northeast. Have you?
Yep.
You've been to like Connecticut, New York, and all that? All right, good. Why is the pizza so good up there and so horrible down here?
The water.
Everybody said the water.
Because
what
they're getting it
everyone
from the
says.
Cascades Mountain and it comes underneath and it's getting all the deep rentals. So there used to be a bakery pre-pandemic that imported their water down in South Tampa to make their bagels. They only used New York water. Their bagels were expensive as hell, but they only lasted so many years. But it was amazing. But it's the water.
Yeah.
We get ours through the aquifer.
It's crazy because, like, there's pizza places like Pizza Hut, for instance. Excuse me.
They're all using the same supply chain. Most of the cheese is the same at all the pizza places.
Right, but
different brands,
but it's
same
crazy
cheese.
how like Pizza Hut pizza in Connecticut tastes different than Pizza Hut pizza in Florida.
Yep.
It's got to be the water, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
It's crazy.
So, I think that's good. I mean, obviously, Nelson, I'll tell you, brother, that was probably one of the best best interviews you've had in a while. Like, I was super, super impressed.
Okay, cool.
At how good you were. Like, it was really, like, I've known you for a while. Like, and we chit chat, but you're always busy. Like, that was really, really informative. And honestly, brother, you're a smart cat, man. I think the guy's got a really good show. I was just expecting to see you be a maniac the whole time.
So that's therapy. That's therapy.
That's
I got to
right.
meet you on your frequency.
Yeah, exactly.
If somebody's calm, you got to read the room. So quiet people, they're quiet, and I ramp them up. Ramped up people, you meet them hyper, you calm them down.
Yeah.
Same thing. You meet your students.
I mean, it's all game. It's all. The more I know about things, the more I realize the people that excel at a very high level at whatever they do don't do it for themselves. They do it for the person they're trying to convey the message to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people miss that point. Like, as a coach, one of my strengths, I think, is not necessarily teaching the techniques, but teaching the techniques to the students, recognizing what they need to hear to learn. I'm sure
That's why I make you look in the mirror and we re-educate.
You do the same. You do the same thing.
I don't want to be the wizard. I don't want to be the wizard that I'm the magician and you need me to save you. I'm your guide to help you find yourself.
Good answer. We'll end on
That is a good answer.
So,
Because there's so many times, like, in just to pick a different sort of topic, but like therapy, right? It's really the self-discovery part of therapy is, I think, really underrated and very important. Because sure, as a therapist, you could probably give someone the answer that they need,
But they need to discover it
but
so
they
that it's
need
an
to
organic
discover it
thought.
for themselves. So, like in the movie Inception, so it's
Yes. Oh, that's so amazing. Like my whole brain just went, ooh.
all I can think about is that top spinning. Are we still in the dream?
Like Usual Suspects, like where it's complete mind twist kind
So,
of thing.
yeah.
Nelson, thank you very much. Let's spend a few seconds. We go over our sponsors, review a little bit where we're going. First of all, Nelson at epicservices.co, right? If you're interested in checking him out, seeing what he does, he has lots and lots. Mountain Dew, obviously. Oh, Rod's gonna love that one, you prick. You couldn't help yourself, did you?
That was for Rod.
That was just sitting in the corner, Rod. I didn't even buy a new one. But that's gonna be
If I had a surge, I would have the surge. And
little inside joke between Sonny and myself and Rod. Obviously, our biggest sponsor, day one, been with us forever, Mr. Troy Regano from No Judges Needed. We hang the damn banner, even though it stayed up this time. I'm impressed. We've that gorilla
That was
tape works.
teamwork.
Well, it stayed up last time too.
Yeah, but as soon as we leave, it'll fall again.
Speaking of Stacy,
Speaking of Spacey, Stacy. Well, first of all, No Judges Needed.
Yes.
Go to NoJudgesNeeded.com. Troy Regano, Jiu-Jitsu owned and operated. Speaking of Stacy, our guest last week, we have Laheel Biogenics. If you're in the market for stem cells, peptides, we had a great show with Stacy last week.
freaking sharks with freaking laser beams.
Freak sharks with laser beams, man. Go
I'm
hit
actually
up.
getting a laser treatment tomorrow.
I heard Stephanie.
Yeah.
You haven't met Stephanie, have you?
You should have him bring
You
to
have
the office
Steph-
of Tesla star.
I have not met Stephanie.
Oh, she's gonna be a guest. Stephanie is
Yeah?
a hoot.
Apparently, she's coming to my gym tomorrow
Yeah.
to laser my.
Steph-
So Stacy goes like this. She goes, is there a place where you guys can where she can do this treatment to you? And I'm thinking, I don't really know what she's talking about. So I'm like, yeah, probably the front desk. She's like, is there a place where there'll be nobody else, like maybe in the bathroom?
What service are you signing up? Where do you get this guy?
I'm gonna go in the bathroom with some woman.
Pinky in the stink hole. We're bringing it
Well,
back.
ma'am, why don't you come into this
No
bathroom
wonder
with me?
he doesn't hurt. He really has a very eclectic life, this
We've
guy.
got you set up in the bathroom. I mean, it's definitely a step up from the storage unit
I
in
mean,
fucking
listen,
Riverview we're in
we
right now.
definitely, we just got done reflooring the bathrooms, so it's
It's
not out of
clean.
the
It's
question.
clean
Yeah,
and
it's
shiny.
clean and it looks good, but I don't know if we want to do a session in there.
Moving right along. Our next sponsor is Classic Coaching. We're actually going to have him on for the next show. We're going to skip. Normally, me and Sonny do a solo show. We already booked.
Have I not met this person?
Not yet. He's
Okay.
he's my nutritionist.
Oh, okay.
He owns Classic Coaching. Classic Coaching, nutrition coaching. He is amazing. And
We've
it's
been watching
actually
great results happening with Kevin, if I can testify.
Thank you very much. Honestly, very, very, very much more affordable than you would think it is. It's a very, very good service, and he is absolutely a
And
genius.
results.
Very, very, very smart guy, very sharp guy. Knows a ton about the human body and how it functions and processes food. We're gonna have him on as a guest next week, or 2 weeks. That is classiccoaching.com. Classic with a K. We've got Charlie Keenan from Rewire. We had Charlie on as our first guest.
He's smart and caring.
Charlie again. I don't have dummies in my group.
He's also a master of disguise, apparently.
Yeah.
I like guys that can help you and hurt you. That just depends on the coin.
Because I met this guy Charlie on a Wednesday. I saw him again. Spent an hour with him here.
Yeah.
With you. I saw him again. I think on that Saturday, and he's like, "Hey, Sonny," and I'm like, "Hey, man."
I literally think he just had a hat on. It was
Well, when he was here, he was in a ponytail.
Yeah, he had his hair down.
But
He does
then when I
sneak
saw
up
him,
on
he had a
you.
hat and his hair was down.
He does sneak
Totally
up.
didn't recognize him.
Rewire for your physical therapy needs. Rewire.com. Charlie's amazing. Honestly, again, one of the best trainers, the best trainer I've ever worked with in my life. I love working with Charlie. He will get you straight, even if you just want to do a little tune up to fix something, or if you plan on going the long haul, Charlie's your guy. And then finally, my good friend Melinda Hart, one of my students,
The Ivy lady?
the Ivy lady, mobile IV unit. She will come to your house. Sarasota might be a run, but I don't know. Give her a call. I think you throw for enough. If you throw
Does she
enough
have a
money.
website?
Activehealth.com. Yeah.
And one more time, what was yours?
Mine's epicservices.co. We're on all the social media platforms.
.co?
Yeah,
Okay.
.co.
Epicservices.co.
So, yeah, man, you guys have been awesome. A really good show. I think that's it. Rod, we could probably cue the music. Sonny, you're the man. Nelson,
out.
thank you
It's
very
been a good
much.
run.
Peace, love, and hair grease.
Peace
Yeah.
and love. Peace and love. That's pretty good. That's a good show.